If you live in the state of Texas and you are considering purchasing a home inside of an HOA, but you're a little nervous about that, well, I'm going to talk to you about a bill that passed almost a year ago that hopefully will give you a little bit more peace of mind when you're purchasing a home in Texas with an HOA. So stick around. Hey everyone, my name is Danae Hewitt and I am your go-to DFW Realtor with Braco Realty Services. If this is your first time here, then welcome. And if this is not your first time, then thanks for tuning in again. On my channel, I talk to you about all the things real estate. And I also go to other cities here in the Metroplex to show you what you can get for your money. But I have not done that this summer because if you haven't realized or haven't heard about it, our temperatures are over 100 degrees pretty much every day in the month of July. And August is usually our hottest month. So I am filming from the comfort of my home office and talk to you about other things associated with the real estate market. I did a video about the pros and cons of buying a home in an HOA, so you can definitely check that one out. So this video is going to expand on that video a little bit just to tell you some recent rules and laws that have changed in regards to an HOA. I'm referring to Senate Bill 1588 that took effect in September 1st of 2001. And there's a lot that went into this bill, but I'm going to highlight just a few things, and I'm also going to link the entire bill in the description below so you can read it for yourself. A lot of people don't like an HOA, but then there are some people that do like an HOA because people say that they're too strict and I can't do whatever I want with my house, and I want to be able to do whatever I want with my house. And so I totally get it. It is absolutely very valid. But there are some people that do like the fact that when they purchase a house, that they know that that HOA is going to make sure that the neighbors are also maintaining their house just as well as they may be doing it themselves. So I can definitely see both sides. My husband and I, we actually do live in an HOA and we're totally okay with that. We came from a house that was not in an HOA and it just drove us crazy about how people just did not take care of the exterior of their house. So we were glad to be moving into an HOA just based off of that one neighborhood and in that one experience. For a very long time, the laws of an HOA were weighted more so for the HOA management company and not so much for the property owner. So this bill has actually given a little bit more leverage to the property owner, which I hope can help you make your decision a little bit easier if you do want to move into an HOA. So let me cover a couple of those little highlights for you. The first change is in regard to any late payments. If there is a disputed payment or a late payment that the HOA has, they have to provide a lot of documentation before they can report it to the credit bureaus as a late payment. I guess before they were just, hey, it was a late payment and they were automatically reporting it without any information to back it up. But now they have to have a detailed report outlining any payment disputes or late payments. This next one is if you are a landlord owning a house in an HOA. Before, you had to provide the HOA with an entire copy of the lease agreement, and now the only information that the HOA can request is the contact information for the tenants and when the lease term begins and ends with the lease on the house. The third thing is they have to give you timely notice of any of their meetings. Specifically with our HOA, we get an email a couple of days in advance of when that meeting is going to take place. So timely notice, no more couple hours ahead of time, if that's what some of them were doing. The fourth thing is now they have to have an HOA website requirement for any properties that have 60 or more lots, or for any subdivisions that are managed by a property management or an HOA management company. And on that website, they have to publish any governing documents over that subdivision. And having that website is very, very crucial, especially if you are a buyer potentially purchasing a home in a neighborhood with an HOA. Now you'll be able to go to that website and read a lot of information about that HOA, when before you weren't getting that information until you were already under contract for the house. And the title company went to the HOA company and requested that info, and then fees were involved, and I'll get to that in just a minute. And then you were given that documentation. Only then were you able to read through all of the HOA rules. But now, again, if the HOA does meet either of those two criteria of having 60 or more lots or being managed by a property management company, then that information does need to be on a maintained website for you. The next thing is HOAs also now have to solicit bids for any maintenance or changes or repairs that are over $50,000. This helps to make sure that there isn't any nepotism in terms of the work getting done, that it's just not going to the same company over and over again, but that they are evaluating and getting the best pricing for the residents and for any repairs or any updates that are getting done to the neighborhood. One of these changes that I'm very excited about is the amount of money that they can charge in a real estate transaction. HOAs had a lot of fees involved with taking that information, giving it to the title company, and charging either the buyer or the seller for them to do that work. I like to call those companies and find out what those two separate fees are. And then I also like to find out if there's any other separate fees that the HOA may have when transferring the HOA out of the seller's name and into the buyer's name. The reason why I like to call is so that I know what those total amounts of fees are, so that when I'm talking to my buyer about the offer that we're going to put in, if I know that these fees total, $500, then I can say, how much of that are you willing to pay for, and how much of that do you want the seller to pay for? And then again, on the flip side, when an offer comes in, me as a listing agent, I know what those fees are, so that when the buyer says that they're paying for half, I'm going to go to my clients and say, okay, they're willing to pay for half. Are you willing to pay for the other half? And that's where the negotiations can start and move forward from there, with me as either agent knowing what those fees are before we get into any negotiations about them. But I will tell you, getting the resale certificate fees and the subdivision fees were very, very expensive sometimes, and it was kind of ridiculous. So let me tell you what the resale certificate is. So this is giving specific information about the property that is actually being sold and where it currently stands with the HOA. So it discloses any past due payments or unpaid violations or any pending violations. And then it also puts together all of the fees that are due at the closing table. That's the resale certificate. So that fee is now capped at $75. Which is fantastic, because I have seen those resale certificate fees be very, very expensive for really no reason. They're doing a little bit of research and sending it over to the title company. I don't want anyone to get too mad at me. So it's great that we know that that is a cap at $75. The next fee is the subdivision information. These are all of the rules that are going along with that HOA. And that fee is now capped at $375. To me personally, I think that's still a little steep, because that document is not specific to one property. It's specific to that neighborhood, that one area. And how often does that change? Probably not change on a daily basis. And any changes that are made, it's changed once, and the document lasts for a couple of years maybe. So they already have that one document in a PDF, very simple to email over to the title company. But, that's just me. At least that fee is capped. That's the max that they can charge. As a buyer's agent and as a listing agent, now I know that my client either way is not paying any more than the $375 over here and the $75 over here to get that information over to the buyers. those are just a few of some recent changes to HOA laws. And so I hope this helps give you a little bit of comfort knowing that the homeowners of the house now have a little bit more leverage and probably a little bit more breathing room in an HOA than they did before. So I want to know, do you live in an HOA and are you happy about it or not happy about it? So let's talk about that in the description below. And if you are looking for an agent in the DFW area, whether you are local or planning to move to the area and you don't have someone in mind, I would love to be that agent for you. My contact information is in the description below. Definitely reach out and I'd be happy to help you. All right, we will see you all next week.